Am I the type of man that a woman would want attention from? Okay, ask yourself this question. Actually, ask yourself this question like one more time. Am I the type of man that a woman would want attention from? See, we have a huge issue right now going on, and the issue is that majority of men today have zero options. Majority of men today don't know what women find attractive. And majority of men do not know how to level up their own sexual market value, so that way beautiful, attractive, amazing women that you want also want you back. This is something that has taken me over 10 years to master and figure out. So it all comes down to this one question that men today refuse to ask themselves. And the question is, am I the type of man that a woman would want attention from? Because we hear this today. We hear these things like women want attention, or women love attention, or women gain attention from a lot of different men on social media and whatnot. And the truth is this happens, but men never take a step back and ask themselves, am I the type of man that a woman would want attention from? This is very important to understand because the title of today's video is Women Only Want Attention from Pre-Selected Masculine Men, and I'm going to explain something to you. Majority of the attention that women get today from men, see, this is the funny thing. You guys all think women have tons of options. When I go on dates with beautiful women, you start to see in a very quick hurry that they actually don't have very many options, especially from options that they actually want, or especially from options that they consider attractive. Meaning the men that are giving them attention or outreaching them do not have the masculine characteristics and personality standards that women are looking for. So then I had to take a step back over the years and say, okay, so what is it that women want? Let me explain. Majority of the attention that women get from men, she has no interest in him, right? None at all. She doesn't even like him. The attention that she gets holds no weight because she obtained it easy, and it also holds no value. And on top of that, he is just overall unattractive. So this begs the question, well, what makes that guy attractive so he could even have options in the first place? I'm going to explain, but it comes down to you actually taking a step back and asking yourself, am I the type of man that a woman would want attention from? After today's video is over, I literally want you to go to your mirror in your bathroom, or if you have a mirror in your house, and take a good hard look at yourself, top to bottom, because you know women look at everything. They look at personality, they look at how you dress, they look at how you speak, they look at how you are. You need to actually look at yourself and say, am I the type of man that a woman would want attention from? This is going to be a great video, okay? So this is why majority of time when a man gives her attention, she does not reply. Because she doesn't find him attractive, she has no interest in him from the get-go, and the attention holds no weight. Okay, so then we got to ask yourself, well, who does she want attention from? Like, what actually is the masculine characteristics or the masculine archetype that she's looking for? It boils down to just a few things. It's not a lot of things. If you think that you need 1,000,001 different things, if you think you need a big 1,000,001 checklist to get a date with a beautiful, amazing woman, you think you need to do 1,000,000 things. You don't. It comes down to these three things. Who she wants attention from is guys who have these three boxes checked. He is competent in a specific field or in a specific craft. That competency, okay, makes him known, so he has recognition, he's known, okay? If he's competent, right, if you're the world's best sumo wrestler, you're competent in sumo wrestling, you're now known for sumo wrestling. If you're the world's best power lifter, you are now known for powerlifting, you are competent in powerlifting, you are known for that, she wants you, okay? It can be anything. So it comes down to these three things. Competency. As you gain competency, you are now known for something. She doesn't need you to be known for 1,000,000 things, but she would like you to be known for something. That is being a man, and that is finding your masculine archetype. That is finding your true God-given purpose, your own God-given identity. And last but not least would be status and pre-selection. Well, what is status and pre-selection? See, I've heard these terms over the years too. I've watched all the same videos you guys have. I've been doing this my whole life. 10 years, from ages 18 to 28, dedicating every single day of my life to figuring out and mastering not only the language of women, but what is it that makes a guy attractive? How do you generate lots of options? And what separates the top 5 to 10% of guys who have all the options versus the guys who have none? comes down to these three things. But here's the funny thing about status and pre-selection. This only comes when you're competent at something and you become known for what you're competent at. Then status and pre-selection comes. Most of you are in for a rude awakening when you start to actually see the amount of work you're going to have to actually do to make yourself a man of value. So let's shift your attention to this piece of the presentation. I don't care how this sounds or how this comes across, because this is the truth. You need to start to look at dating as a sport. Okay, just like when you're in the gym and you fail on that last bicep curl, and you're like, oh my God, now I know that, 45 pound curls, I can only do that for 8 reps and I failed. Hopefully I'll get the 9th rep next week. You need to look at dating as the same, okay? Inside of my new community, I've had guys tell me things like, in the past, they've said and it's amazing because I watch these guys grow every day. Like, we are over 420 members now. Like, these guys are coming together and working to grow. I've heard guys say things like, if I get a first date, there's only a 10 to 15% chance that I'll get a second date with her. And this totally blew my mind because of one thing. Over the years, as I looked at my own dating life, that was me back in the day too. And now it has gotten to the point to where if I have a first date with a girl, there's like an 85 to 95% chance that we will go out on a second date and she'll want to actively try and see me. So you need to start to look at dating as a sport, because in sports, there's wins and losses. In dating, there's wins and losses. You're going to have to take losses in your dating life. The failures is what makes the man. The setbacks is what makes the man. The heartbreaks is what makes the man. You learn what not to do. If you learn what not to do, you can learn what to do. And most of you guys are going to have to lose in order to figure out how to win. Dating, if you look at it as a sport, you're going to be much happier because the losses don't affect you as much then. You're like, okay, I'm growing, right? I'm growing through this. So how do you do this? How do you look at dating as a sport? You look at dating as a sport by doing one thing. You look at masculine to feminine inverses in what they value and relationships. There's 2 ways to phrase this: value and relationships, or value in relationships. So say this one more time. You need to look at masculine to feminine inverses in what each values in relationships. So this is the saying that we've all heard. We've all heard this. We hear things like, men typically value sexual access. Men like to know that a woman is interested in him on an intimate level. We know this. So what's the inverse of this? If men typically value potential sexual access, what do women value? Okay, women typically value attention. Well, the way that you win in your dating life, if you're looking at this as a sport, and in sports you get better at it, well, you have to ask yourself, okay, if she's typically valuing attention, if this is what she values, you got to ask yourself and say, well, what's in it for her? Because if there's something in it for her, what does she want? What does she value? What does she want? So that way it feels like a win for her if she were to go out on a date with you, if she were to potentially sleep with you, if she were to potentially be your girlfriend. What's in it for her? What does she value? Well, women value the 3 things right here. Competency. As you're competent, now you become known. As you're known, now you gain status and pre-selection. Women typically value attention. So right off the bat, what I want you to do is I want you to look at these as inverses. If men typically value sexual access, the inverse of that, or the opposite of that, would be women typically valuing attention. So now what you got to do is you got to ask yourself this. Now you ask yourself this. Am I a guy that women would want attention from? Okay? Myself, from ages probably 16 to 19, 20, I was not a guy who women would probably want attention from. As a man, it takes time to develop. As a man, it takes time to figure out who you are. As a man, it takes time to gain these 3 things: competency, being known for something, and having status and pre-selection. So, you got to ask yourself, am I a guy that women would want attention from? Most of you, if you ask yourself this question right now, this would clear up a lot of the questions and a lot of the problems that you have in your dating life. Because you are constantly on different apps trying to talk to girls and they don't reply. You're on social media messaging girls and they don't reply. You go out to, certain events or nightlife with your friends and you'll notice the girls have no interest in you. And it's because at this point in your life, you are probably not a guy that women would want attention from. And I'm here to tell you something. That's okay. That's okay. It's fine. Life's long if you let it be. So here's the funny thing about this. Lots of women spend 100% of their time asking this same exact question, but in reverse. Women will have to subconsciously ask themselves, am I so beautiful, am I so pretty that a man would desire me? Am I so beautiful that a man would desire me on an intimate level? Does that man find me beautiful? Does that man find me pretty? Would that man want me on that level? Would that man want to date me? She has to ask herself the same question. The more time that I've spent around women, it's amazing how much time they actually put into themselves when it comes to self-care. So the past couple weeks, I've been on quite a few dates, and the things that women are doing to put forth a good image, a good persona, or a good feminine ideal is amazing. I started to notice these things. These dates I go on, these women all have their nails done and they're freshly manicured. All of the women that I have went on dates with, their skin, it's like it's freshly lotioned, like they put lotion all over it. They smell really good. Their hair's curled, their teeth are really pretty. These women put so much time into making sure that they look good and that they feel good. Because what they're doing is they're asking this exact same question. Am I so beautiful, am I so pretty that I could desire the level of man that I'm wanting to get? You have to ask yourself the same question. Am I the type of man that a woman would want some attention from? So now shift your attention over to this column. So what you have to understand is this. She will happily take some attention from a guy who she's not even super attracted to in her inbox, but she won't sleep with him. She'll happily take that attention. Now, if we look at masculine to feminine inverses, you can't even fault her for this because you would do the same. If you look at this in reverse, the same goes for you guys. You'll see that one woman that you see, you'll see that one woman once a week between the hours of 9 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. Yeah, you'll see her once a week between these hours, once a week, but you'll never date her. You do the same thing. So she'll happily take that attention in that inbox from that guy she's not super interested in, just like you'll happily see that one girl from the hours of 9 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. when you're not doing anything and you just want to watch TV, but you'll never date her, and she knows it, which is why hypergamy is satisfied. The same thing happens when you start to notice masculine to feminine inverses. So, ask yourself, you need to actually take a step back here and ask yourself, am I a guy women would want some attention from? Because most guys today are not the type of guy that a woman would even want attention from or even care. So what you need to do to become a man that a woman would want some attention from is you have to understand how these three things synergistically correlate. You become competent at something. I don't care if you are competent at scuba diving, sumo wrestling, business, track and field, being an athlete, opening up your own restaurant franchise. I don't care what it is. You have to be competent at something. When you're competent for something, you become known for something. As you're known for something, now you have status and pre-selection. So what this boils down to is one thing. You are going to triple down into your identity and who you are. And this is the problem today, is most men don't actually understand their own personality, their own identity, and who they are, because they're comparing themselves to every other man out there. Women want to see a man who knows himself. She doesn't care who you are because you have these big three things down and dialed in. You're competent, you're known, and now you have status and pre-selection. It comes down to tripling down into your identity and what makes you you. Okay? I could try to change myself all I want, but I'm good at marker board presentations and this is me. So I do them because it's who I am. And I became known for it to some degree. So now let's actually look at identity. So understanding identity, okay, and who God called you to be is the only way a man steps into who he is to become attractive. Say this with me one more time because this is jam-packed. Understanding identity and who God actually called you to be as a man. This is the only way to step into who you should be to actually become attractive. This is how a man steps into who he is to become attractive, okay? So the way that you can prove this, or the way that you can actually see this for what it is, there's a lot of people who always say things like, oh, you know, it's so hard to date with social media. In my opinion, I think social media shows you exactly what to do versus what not to do. If you look at who women follow on social media, you will understand in a very quick hurry what women find attractive. So look at who women follow on social media. These are the guys that they actually want to sleep with. Okay? I don't care if that hurts your feelings. I don't care if that pisses you off, because a lot of the guys posting things on social media have crafted some sort of personality, some sort of persona, or some sort of identity that says, hey, this is me. And in fact, I'm so confident that this is me, I'm even willing to share it with the entire world. So she looks at that guy and she goes, wow, he must actually know himself. That's a man I want to follow. So look at this. Look at who women follow on social media. These are the guys that they actually want to sleep with. Look at some of the archetypes that women typically will follow. Women like to follow athletes, professional athletes. Once again, competent at athleticism, known for athleticism. Now he has status in pre-selection. Musicians. Competent, known, now has status in pre-selection. Pilots. Competent, known, status in pre-selection comes. Business owners, doctors. A man with a true identity and purpose and path. Okay? So, athletes, musicians, pilots, business owners, doctors. Here's just a few. I created like a quick list of 5. I'm sure there's more. But this is 5 overall archetypes or masculine archetypes that women consider attractive. Why? Why do they find this attractive? Because of identity. The man knows himself. So, you as a man need to actually become someone or something. And this is like the highest level of game. Like those of you who want real game beyond going out to the nightclub and saying this line, the woman is looking at who you are as a man from the inside out. She's looking at everything. She's looking seriously at everything. Who you are as a man needs to actually become someone or something. So I advise you to do exactly what a lot of women do. Women spend majority of their time, or 100% of their time, in this element called self-care. That's why every single girl that I went out on a date with over the past 2 weeks had amazing perfume. All of them had their nails done and manicured. All of them had bright white teeth. A lot of them had their hair curled. Their skin was smooth and they had lotion on. They took care of themselves. They looked very beautiful. All of them worked out. When we would go out on a date, all of them ordered healthy options. These are attractive women who understand that element of self-care as a woman is so important. They spend, I could just tell. I could tell that they spend 100% of their time doing this, or majority of all their time. And me as a man over the past 10 years, I've done the same thing. I spent 100% of my time in the element of identity, right? My fitness, my health, my business, becoming good at something, becoming good at these videos with you guys. All of this ties into who I became and who I am. So you as a man need to actually become someone or something. Spend 100% of your time building you. So those of you who want game, right? I want good game, good charisma, good verbal skills. You spend 100% of the time on you. You walk into a room, you can be the loudest guy in that room without saying a single word. And that's the highest leverage of game right there. So let's take this a step further. Now, you're the type of man a woman wants some real attention from. She's like, oh, he's known for something? I will entertain this. Oh, he's good at something? I will entertain this. Attention where she goes, yes, I want to meet with him and see him in real life. So some of the girls I went out on dates with over the past couple weeks have thousands and thousands of followers. Some of them on their online dating apps have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages, even thousands of men. And these were women where I sent just a few text messages and then I took them out to brunch the very next day. So think about that for a second. How did I get moved up in the process so that way I don't look like all of the other options? It came from spending 100% of the time building the identity. And they can tell this very quick. So, attention, where she now goes, yes, I want to meet him in real life and see where this goes in real life. I would like to actually, yes, go get coffee with you. I would actually, yes, like to go get brunch with you. I would like to maybe flirt with you for 30 minutes as we eat or drink coffee and see what your personality is like. That's how you get your foot in the door. So, women do not only want rich guys like you guys think. Because you have to understand, to a woman, there is so much more than meets the eye than just the materialistic success. Think about this. Rich guys are typically get rich, or rich guys typically are rich, or rich guys typically get rich because they know themselves, identity, they know who they are, which is why they become known for something, and which is why they're competent at this thing, and which is why now they have status in pre-selection. So rich guys typically get rich because they know themselves, they know who they are, and they've acquired the wealth through real skills. Well, what does that translate into? That now translates into, hey, status and competency. Now you have the pre-selection. Now you have women who desire you. You've done the work as a man. Just like that woman has had to maintain a lot of different things for me to look at her and go, wow, she is so beautiful, so feminine, so amazing. You have to do the exact same thing. You have to spend all of your time, 100% of your time. Even sleep is included in that. Sleep helps you recover for tomorrow's workout. Sleep helps you recover so you can be healthy. Everything ties into one another. So, when she sees a rich guy, he typically got rich because he knows himself, he knows who he is, and he's acquired this through a real skill. So now she goes, wow, there's value here. He must be smart. Wow, there's value here. He must have status. Wow, there's value here. He must have direction in life. This is a man I want to get behind. So this now translates into status and competency. So let me give you an example. Inside of my brotherhood, inside of my community that I created, that we now have over 400 guys in, what I included in it was I give guys the Freedom Academy. And what Freedom Academy is, or what Freedom Academy was my exact step-by-step process of how I built my business. And I break everything down for you click by click. So see, a lot of guys, when they see this community that I built, they think, oh, the only thing in it is the language of women. Couldn't be further from the truth. This thing that I made is jam-packed with value. I give you Freedom Academy right inside of it. Freedom Academy, I show you step-by-step how I built my exact business. So the cool thing is I see a guy, he posts inside of this, he literally just got let go from his job. And the title was God's Timing. He goes, I was let go of my job today, hopped on a call with the CEO, and he shared how the company as a whole is struggling to make a profit. The guy inside of my community goes, he thanked me for the 3 years I have served and gave me his number to use for reference. Now, here's the cool thing. He goes, before I experienced the layoff, I managed to land 3 clients from what I was taught in Freedom Academy. He goes, took a skill I had and went out in the field to obtain clients. If you shift your eyes all the way down to the last couple sentences, he says, I accept that God's timing is perfect and to leave everything to him. Tend your garden, build your relationship with the Most High. See, this is what happens. When guys actually start to get on their own path, when guys actually develop their identity, when guys develop their own masculine persona and who they were called to be, so they can triple down on these 3 things, developing competency, becoming known for something, which leads you to having number 3, which is now you have status in pre-selection. Well, guess what? You start to win. So when I give guys Freedom Academy, it's like for once, they're never submissive to a boss ever again. Number 2, they actually figure out who they are as a man. They figure out their own personality. They figure out why they have value to them and how they can actually do good in life with that, which leads them to number 3, they actually start to win. So when you put everything together, that now makes up who you are as a man, okay? This is why you don't have options, because you don't have life direction. This is why you don't have options, is because you don't have life success. Those options, that purpose, that direction, that success translates into confidence. Now you understand where you're going in life. Now you're a man that a woman would like to follow. So this is very important. This is why women only want attention from pre-selected masculine men, because that is what a woman finds attractive.